So let's talk about Don Bluth's prehistoric classic of an animated feature, The Land Before Time. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 1988 anime adventure drama flick The Land Before Time, released by Universal along with Amblin Entertainment and Lucasfilm. Well, George Lucas was involved in this. The film was directed and produced by Don Bluth, being his second and only other film with Spielberg after An American Tail. Of course, Spielberg, George Lucas, Kathleen Kennedy, and Frank Marshall were executive producers. This is actually the only inaugural film in the franchise, which I'll explain about that later. Anyway, the film explores issues of prejudice between the different species and the hardships these young dinosaurs endure in their journey as they are guided by the spirit of the mother of one of the characters and forced to deal with a sharp tooth known as a Tyrannosaurus. Now, unfortunately, this was the one and only Don Bluth film of the 80s which Dom DeLuise did not participate in. He instead lent his voice to Disney's Oliver and Company, which just happened to have been released the same day, on November 18th of 1988. Anyway, along with the success of this and another film, which I'll get to, it led to Spielberg founding his own animation studio called Amblimation. But anyway, let's get into our story. During the age of the dinosaurs, a massive famine forces several herds of dinosaurs to seek an oasis known as the Great Valley. Among these, a mother in a diminished longneck herd gives birth to a single baby named Littlefoot. Years later, Littlefoot encounters Sarah, a three-horn, until her father intervenes and tells her that they don't play with longnecks. Whereupon Littlefoot's mother describes other kinds of dinosaurs, who only associate with their own species. That night, as Littlefoot follows a hopper, he encounters Sarah again, and they play together briefly until a large sharp tooth attacks them. Well, Littlefoot's mother comes to their rescue, but receives fatal injuries in the process. An earthquake swallows up the sharp tooth and divides Littlefoot, Sarah, and other dinosaurs from their herds. Several die in the process, including Littlefoot's mother, who first gives her son some words of advice about finding the Great Valley, which where Littlefoot, let your heart guide you, it whispers, so listen closely. And with those words, she dies. Confused and in grief, Littlefoot meets an old clubtail named Rooter, who consoles him. He is then guided by his mother's voice, telling him to follow the sun to the Great Valley, and pass several landmarks such as a rock formation that resembles a long neck, and the mountains that burn. Later, Littlefoot meets a big mouth named Ducky and a flyer named Petrie, who accompany him on his journey. Sarah, who is attempting to find her own kind, finds the unconscious Sharptooth inside a ravine and inadvertently wakes him up. She escapes and bumps into Littlefoot and his new allies. She tells them that the Sharptooth is alive and pursuing them, but Littlefoot does not believe her. As Sarah describes her encounter, she accidentally flings Ducky to the direction of a lone hatching spiketail, whom Ducky names Spike, and inducts into the group. Seeking the Great Valley, they discover a cluster of trees which is abruptly depleted by a herd of longnecks. Searching for remaining growth, they discover a single leaf-bearing tree and obtain food by stacking up atop each other and pulling it down. Sarah remains aloof, but at nightfall she and everyone else gravitate to Littlefoot's side for warmth and companionship. The next morning they are attacked by the Sharp-Tooth, but they manage to escape through a tunnel that is too small for him to follow. Beyond this, they discover the landmarks mentioned by Littlefoot's mother. Sarah stubbornly decides to go another way and insults Littlefoot's mother, causing him to attack her in anger. The ensuing fight leads to the others following Sarah, and Littlefoot is forced to continue alone. However, when Ducky and Spike become endangered by lava and Petrie gets stuck in a tar pit, Littlefoot returns to rescue them. Sarah gets ambushed by a pack of dome heads who are also living in the mountains that burn. The rest of the group pose as a tar monster, scaring away the dome heads and frightening Sarah. When she realizes who it really is, Sarah angrily leaves the group. It is not long, however, until she gives in to her guilt, recognizing that her stubbornness and selfishness puts others in danger. Later, while crossing a pond, Petrie overhears the Sharp-Tooth nearby. The group devises a scheme to lure him to the pond and drown him in the deep side using a nearby boulder. During the ensuing struggle, a draft from the Sharp-Tooth's nostrils enables Petrie to fly for the first time. Okay, now for the ending. You know the procedure like always in my videos. You have 5 seconds to stop this video, go to the description box below, and fast forward to the time below to avoid any spoilers. If you've seen the movie already, please continue on after the 5 seconds are over with. Thank you for your understanding. Here we go. Okay, you've been warned. The plan nearly fails when the Sharp-Tooth begins attacking the boulder while the group attempts to push it onto him. However, Sarah, finally having a big change of heart, reunites with the group and headbutts the boulder, causing the Sharp-Tooth to fall into the water below, the boulder crashing into him in the process. The Sharp-Tooth momentarily takes Petrie down with him, seemingly to his death, but Petrie later emerges unharmed. Littlefoot alone follows a cloud resembling his mother, which guides him to the Great Valley. He is then joined by the others. Upon arrival, the 5 are reunited with their families. Petrie impresses his family with his newfound flight. Ducky introduces Spike to her family, who adopt him. Sarah reunites with her father, and Littlefoot finds his grandparents. The group then rejoins at the top of a hill and embrace each other in a hug. End of story. So, what did I think of The Land Before Time? Now, I've seen this movie when I was a child, but it's been years since I last saw it. I just recently got to revisit the film on Tubi, and I've got to say, it's pretty good. The film did pretty well for Universal, although unfortunately, it kind of just couldn't match up to the international to make it over a million, like 100 million. I mean, like well, Bluth's recent hit, An American Tail, which a review of that will be coming up later on this year. But anyway, the film still got some pretty decent response in my view, and went on to make 84 million worldwide, despite a runtime of just a mere 68 minutes, which that's probably the shortest animated film I've seen to date. Maybe aside from others, I might think there are some others. But anyway, our voice acting cast is pretty good, which includes Pat Hingle, who the following year would get his start as Commissioner Gordon in the Batman franchise as our narrator and rooter. Gabriel Damon as Littlefoot. Candace Hudson voices Sarah. Will Ryan does Petrie. Well, and even though she had been brutally murdered by her father, along with her mother, the late Judith Barcy, who the following year would be heard in Bluth's next film, All Dogs Go to Heaven, voices Ducky. The rest of the voices include Helen Shaver as Littlefoot's mother, Burke Burns as Sarah's father, and Bill Irwin as Littlefoot's grandfather. Anyway, the film did so well. Of course, it was released the same year as another one of Spielberg's big hits, the live-action animated Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Anyway, it went on to become a big success on video cassette and just so many and what have you. But anyway, the film would gain a big following and would be followed by 13, that's right, you heard me correctly, 13 big sequels. Unfortunately, those have been met with mixed response, and of course, Bluth, Spielberg, and Lucas were not involved in these. There would also be an animated series that came on Cartoon Network. But anyway, the direct-to-video sequels differ from the original by adding sing-along musical numbers as well. And they've been met with mixed reception with several fans of the original disregarding these sequels, while others have embraced the sequels into the canon of the story. Which that's understandable. But I've never watched those, though. But anyway, that's about all I can say. And well, so the question is, would I recommend The Land Before Time? I would say yes. It's got a good story, it's got great characters, everything. I think it's a pretty good prehistoric fun flick for your family, and your kids will love it too. So, what are your thoughts on this movie? Oh, one more thing I forgot. James Horner does the score for this. Yes, I almost forgot before I go on. Now, and they also include the song "If We Hold On Together," which was done by legendary R&B singer Diana Ross. Yeah, that was pretty good too. So again, tell me what you thought about The Land Before Time in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button below, subscribe to my channel as well, be a part of the Big D Nation. And join me next time when I bring to you a ranking of Don Bluth's films. See where the Land Before Time will wind up. Would be my top favorite? Very unlikely, but I do like this movie though. Just find out. In the meantime, while you're waiting, check out these other Don Bluth films I've already reviewed. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of Anastasia that I did last year. The upper right-hand corner is my review of All Dogs Go to Heaven, which I reviewed not so long ago this month. Or if you want something else, you can get some from Spielberg. Go to the bottom left-hand corner for my review of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe to my channel. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.